Hello, I'm Anthony David Hobbs, and this is my review of Battlestar Galactica, Episode 17, The Man with Nine Lives. Now, in the previous two episodes, when we see the glowing space station, oh yes, the 8 abducted pilots, that they are returned, by the way, yeah. And, this glowing space station, these angel-like beings, super advanced, and it's all glowing and eerie inside, and yes, when you see the story inside the space station, you feel, spiritualized, invigorated, uplifted. Wow, it's amazing. It's spectacular. Two of the best episodes ever. How can you top that? You can't, can you? You can't top that. Yes. So they can't. All the other episodes after this, it doesn't look as good because we've just seen the best thing ever, and we want something on that same kind of level, but we don't get it. Yeah. Well, the glowing space station, the orbs of light, they're amazing because we don't often see them. That's kind of the point. If we saw a lot more of them, they wouldn't be as amazing anymore, yeah. And the other element is, I miss the Cylons, yes. I remember when I first saw this, all the episodes after this, there's no Cylons. The Cylons aren't the enemy anymore. Well, that's annoying, that's silly. Oh, we see different villains instead. But where are the Cylons? They were the best, the definitive baddies in this show, yeah. I mean, can you imagine episodes of Batman with no Joker, no Riddler, or no Catwoman? It just wouldn't work. We've got to see the favourite ones again. Or can you imagine Doctor Who with no Cybermen or no Daleks, I'm not suggesting we should have seen the Cylons in every episode, but now and again, but no, they've gone. It looks like they've gone for good. And it's really annoying. At least it was at first. When you get over the initial shock, when you get used to the idea the Cylons aren't coming back, yeah, we can expand the story a bit, see different villains, yeah. And, give it a shot, babe. That's what I'm saying, yes. There's still potential, still some good stories, even without the Cylons. Okay, on board the Battlestar Galactica, yes, Commander Adama has his captain's log, and he talks into a microphone, and this writing instantly appears on the screen, yeah. Basically, he says this. Those angels, or angel-like beings, gave us the coordinates to Earth, all the different angles and vectors that we go to. However, they didn't specify the distance or how long it would take to travel all these different places until we eventually get to Earth. So we have no concept of time. We could find Earth in a couple of months. It could be a couple of decades. We really don't know, yeah. And the writers of the show, they didn't know how long this show was going to last, so they thought, don't find Earth just yet, yeah. Give it a chance to make it a longer series, yeah. Blissfully unaware there was only going to be one season of this show, yeah. Anyway, okay, let's get on with the story. It's called The Man with Nine Lives. A character called Chameleon, although his name is spelt chameleon, yeah, but he's called Chameleon, so it's a pun on chameleon because it's called The Man of Nine Lives because he's a con man, a rip-off artist. So he has to keep changing his identity so the people he's ripped off can never find him, yeah. And yes, Fred Astaire plays the old man, yeah. Yeah, it's a very long cameo, if you like, the whole episode. In fact, Fred Astaire himself was reluctant to do it. He didn't want to do a space adventure story, but his grandchildren persuaded him to do it. So he did it, and they thought he was really cool, yeah. Anyway, Chameleon, he's flirting with a lady on board this shuttlecraft on the way to the Rising Star. Oh, yeah, and she's called Sirius something. Oh, no, not Sirius. Cyrus. So, we've already had a character called Cyrus Bellaby, but she's called a Cyrus, and he says, I would never lie to a woman. I would certainly never lie to a Cyrus. So what does Cyrus mean? Is it some sort of title, like your ladyship, or a duchess, or a countess? No, well, clearly a Cyrus is always an incredibly rich, powerful lady, yeah. Anyway, this Cyrus that, Chameleon's doing a good job flirting with her. Not only does she cover for him when he gets away with ripping off the ticket salesman, she invites him back to her cabin later on. Wow, so he's known her less than a day and he's doing well. He's a real ladies' man, yeah. Anyway, then Starbuck, who loves to gamble, does this card game called Pyramid, and the way he's doing it isn't quite right, and the old man gives him hints on how. So the old man likes gambling as well. Oh, wait, no, a bit earlier we see like these dancers performing, and then we see people dancing for fun. They lock their hands like this novel way of dancing, yeah. Anyway, then these new characters called Nomen. Well, I say Nomen. It's a pun on nomads. They're a nomadic tribe, yeah. There's very few of them, and they don't often visit the other people unless they're on a blood hunt. Yes, they're tracking someone down, like bounty hunters, yeah. The nomads, they look more or less human, except they have really thick forehead bits, yeah, with their eyebrows meet like that, yeah, like cavemen almost. And they dress in like these light brown robes, like ancient warriors, yeah. Now, Battlestar Galactica did rip off a lot of ideas from Star Wars, there's no two ways about that, but one idea they didn't rip off was the lightsaber. Now, a lightsaber, an ancient weapon, but it's glowing like a laser, yeah. So they did something else. Did they do laser axes, laser spears? No. Laser bowlers. Now, bowlers, that's an ancient weapon from ancient Mayans, and they'd have two balls joined together with a piece of string. They'd throw it in a certain way. The idea is it goes around your victim's head, it swishes round, the ball bash his skull, knock him out, or even kill him, yeah. So they have something like that, the futuristic equivalent. It's bowlers, but they glow like glowing orbs. And when they throw them, they blow something up, like grenades. Yeah, okay, so deadly weapon here, yeah. Anyway, one of the nomads is just about to throw them at the old man, Chameleon. And Boomer and Jolly, like security men on the Rising Star, they stop them there. And he can't deactivate it once it's been turned on, like pulling the pin out of a grenade. So Boomer tells them to throw it at a bit of the ship where there's no people, so nobody gets hurt. Yeah, so explosion there. And then the nomads, they wait. They wait for Chameleon. He can't stay on the Rising Star forever. He has to go, so they go to the place where the docking bay, where the shuttle goes, yeah. Anyway, Chameleon, he's watching the news. Starbuck's on. Yeah, Starbuck is a bit of a hero, a celebrity. Oh yeah, before that we see Omega saying, "We need more fighter pilots. The fleet needs you." A bit like that World War One poster where Lord Kitchener says, "Your country needs you." Yeah, so they need more fighters. Yeah. Anyway, Starbuck is asked a series of questions on IFB, which is like their equivalent of a news channel. And he's asked what age he is. And he says, "I don't know. I'm an orphan. My family was destroyed by a Cylon attack. And I was one of hundreds of other babies that all their families destroyed. I was found wandering about in a field. And yes, I was adopted, but I really don't know my exact age." Yeah. And then Chameleon, he pretends he's a geneticist or genealogist, someone that reunites people with their family members. Yeah. And he said he's possibly Starbuck's son. He's possibly Starbuck's father. And he says that he used to be a pilot and he was in the exact location that was destroyed, yeah, and where Starbuck's family was destroyed. So he's possibly his father, yeah. And this is all really exciting stuff and everything. And then Cassiopeia, who's a doctor on board the Galactica, she does a series of genetic tests on Chameleon and Starbuck. And Starbuck really hopes he is his father because yeah, he's they both like gambling a lot. They're both ladies' men. They're very good at pulling, you know. And they see eye to eye. They get along really well. So he really hopes he's his father, yeah. And then the nomads, they decide to enlist to become Viper pilots or pretend they want to be pilots as an excuse to get on board the Galactica because they're after Chameleon, yeah. And, oh yes, the corporal that's recruiting new hopeful recruits. It's the same actor that played a security man in the episode 4, Lost Planet of the Gods. But you're not supposed to notice it's the same actor, yeah. Well, why do that? Why have the same actor play a different part? Well, because it saves money. You don't have to pay as much money if they do that, yeah. Oh, speaking of same actors, the actor that plays the chief nomad, he also played a part in the episode The Lost Warrior, Battlestar Galactica. Same actor, different character. And of course, the actor Lance Sturgot, what he's most known for is playing Colonel Decker in a number of episodes of the A-Team, also done by Universal. So yeah, there's a connection there, yeah. Anyway, Starbuck shows his father, who is possibly his father, a Colonial Viper. Oh, before that, in secret, Starbuck says to Chameleon, "If I ever got married or sealed, the person I'd choose would be Cassiopeia, yeah." Anyway, then, yeah, Chameleon has shown a Viper. Starbuck explains how it works and everything. But then after that says, "I don't want to be a pilot anymore. I want to do what you do. I destroy things, death and destruction, whereas you help life. You know, that's a much better way of life. I'd like to help reunite families with their babies and everything. Do something deep and meaningful like you. Then the nomads come. They're not interested in Starbuck. They're after Chameleon, yeah. But because he gets in the way, they throw bowlers at him. He runs away, barely escapes with his life. And then when Starbuck gets out the way, Chameleon, sitting on board inside a Viper, fires lasers through the tube attempting to attack the nomads. They manage to get away. Except we don't see laser beams, we just see flashing lights. And right, so a stationary Viper shooting lasers. Does that make up for the lack of space battles? Not really, no, but I suppose it's better than nothing. Anyway, the nomads are looking for someone called Dimitri, and Starbuck says, what are they talking about? There's no one called Dimitri. Dimitri is Chameleon, one of his many names, one of his fake names, yeah. So he's a con man, yeah. And then afterwards, secretly, Cassiopeia says to Chameleon, he is your son, Starbuck is your son. And Chameleon says, well, he must never find out. Tell him the test was negative. Because he wants to give up everything he loves, his way of life, being a great pilot and all that. And all for what? Why should he give up his life and follow me? You know, I'm not a genetic expert. Now I'm just a con man, yeah. He'll give up everything he loves for what? For an old fool that's never done a straight thing in his life? No, that would be such a waste. If he found out I was his real father, he'd be disappointed. And Chameleon, it's the other way round. He's very proud of Starbuck, proud to call him his son. Starbuck's a great hero, yeah. And Cassiopeia says, okay, fair enough, but you must tell him he's your real son one day. And he says, yes, maybe on the day he gets married. And Cassiopeia says, that won't happen. He says, don't be so sure, yeah. Okay. So, yes, okay, we a bit of a character development. I never knew Starbuck was an orphan until now, yeah. Technically not an orphan because his real father's alive. But, I suppose maybe it would get boring if all the episodes are lots of space battles, but can we have a balance between the two, between non-stop action and the ones of less action? Yeah, a sort of even number of both, yeah. And so in other words, yes, an amusing story, but I preferred the space battle ones. Okay, that's enough from me. Thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.